So
Cool. Okay. Hey everyone, my name's Oda. I'm the current treasurer for FAST.
hi everyone, my name is Manny. I am the current vice president for Club FAST. This presentation is going to give you guys a basic guidance and some fundamentals on learning Linux. For some of you guys, it may be a refresher. For those who are new, it is going to be some basic commands that you are going to be utilizing in your future Linux journey. If you guys haven't already, please join our Discord Club Fast and also join over our Slack, and we will be posting those in the chat rooms as well. So let's get started, guys. So a little bit of background on Linux. Linux is used in a lot of city, car infrastructure, websites, you know, our gaming systems, POS systems. So Linux is an open source software that it is very utilized in an appropriate manner where people are easily able to access it. So it is a very popular operating system among everybody. You'll see it everywhere. You know, that doesn't have a label like Windows or Mac on it. Most of the time it's gonna have Linux on there. Some popular ones are going to be like Debian down here at the bottom left. Debian is a reliable and secure Linux operating system. It is also the base for Ubuntu and Kali Linux. Ubuntu, the orange logo down there at the bottom, is going to be a Linux distro that has a very user-friendly interface and makes using Windows program on Ubuntu very easily. And I know I just mentioned the word distro. What distro means is a distribution of Linux. They're basically like a collection of multiple different operating systems under the Linux kernel. Next, we also have Fedora right over there. We have, which is another Linux-based operating system that allows for innovation. It is mainly used on an enterprise level. So higher businesses will like to use this type of Linux distribution for their jobs. And next we have Kali Linux, which is probably the most popular amongst everybody. It is used for penetration testing, ethical hacking, and mainly used for those types of skills. So we'll be going over Kali Linux here today. So if you are familiar with that, please follow along.
Perfect. So some of you may be asking, why is learning Linux so important? I know in this presentation, we're specifically talking about Linux for CTFs, but Linux is important to know in the workforce too. Linux is a popular operating system. So many jobs require you to have prior knowledge of using Linux. It's good to kind of get a head start and start practicing with Linux in college while you're already here. So learning the basics of Linux can really help your career. And it's always impressive to the person hiring you that you already have knowledge beforehand. And this skill can really like make you stand out. A good example would be like, say you're someone that is applying for a job in cloud development or cloud architecture. You'll mostly be using the command line. So knowledge beforehand is good to know. Let's say you're someone interested in the field of DevOps. You'll be constantly running applications in Linux, and it's a very popular operating system to use. On the other hand, if you're someone that enjoys working with Linux overall, I'd say having a career as a Linux system administrator may be the best option for you. Linux admins perform tasks such as installing server systems, updating the system after it crashes or reboots, performing maintenance checks and system backups, reading error logs, and so much more. So for those of you that may be interested in, I know we have some CS majors in here, if you're interested in computer programming, some programmers are also can program in Linux as well. So if any of these jobs sound interesting to you, I encourage you to keep practicing or even study for Linux certifications. So some examples would be the CompTIA Linux Plus, the GIAC Certified Unix Security Administrator, the Linux Foundation Certified System Administrator, and the Red Hat Certified System Administrator.
So for a quick disclaimer, we will not be showing here how to install a virtual machine on your system just for time's sake purposes, but we do have some great resources here that we do recommend for you to try. On the left-hand side, if you own a Windows machine and you're looking to install your virtual machine on there, we recommend this video down below, Network Chuck. You need to learn virtual machines. If some of you guys have probably know him, he's a very popular YouTuber who likes to do a lot of cybersecurity, Linux, playing with Raspberry Pis, just all this type of stuff. He's a great person to watch. We put that QR code there if you guys just like to scan to watch that video. And we have David Bombal on the right-hand side where we recommend for your Mac system. So if you're looking to install a virtual machine on your Mac system, we recommend this one on the right-hand side. So we're just gonna take a few seconds here to for the people who do want to search these videos up or to scan the QR codes. Two great resources to have. Yeah, Network Chuck's really popular.
Oh yeah, if you have an M1 MacBook, it's a little tricky.
All right, we're going to continue here.
Perfect. Okay, so here we're going to be going over what to expect and what to expect when starting your first CTF and when you first open your first terminal. So we're going to go over the very beginning. So if you've never worked with Linux before, that's okay. I'll try and explain everything in beginner's terms. I'll also be going over the structure and where everything's at. I'll also explain what tools Linux has to offer, just in case you guys want to explore. Perfect. Okay, so in this case, I will talk specifically about Kali Linux. So let's say you have Kali Linux downloaded and already opened. It may look a little bit intimidating at first, but I promise you with practice, it's gonna be common sense and come naturally to you. So the image above is how the structure will be when you first sign in. The items we want to be using will be at the very top, but at the bottom of the screen, I enhanced the image so it's like a lot bigger and then we can see it better. So to the very left of the screen, like towards the bottom, is gonna be an image of a blue box with the dragon inside. That is where all your applications and tools are gonna be. I'll go further into detail of the applications later on in this presentation, so definitely stay tuned. Next to that is the blue window with the 3 dots at the bottom. That's where we can minimize all open windows and show the desktop. To the right of that is a white folder icon with the blue tab sticking out. That's where our home and all our files, downloads, photos, and documents are going to be stored. To the right of that is a white paper with a red circle and a pencil. If you click on it, it's going to open up and a mouse pad will pop up, and that's where you can write and type all your notes. To the right of that is the Firefox browser, and that's where we can browse the web. And then to the right of that is a black square icon called the terminal emulator, or just like terminal for short. If you click on that, an empty terminal will pop up, and the terminal is where you'll be writing all your commands. To the right of that, you see the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's where we can switch back and forth from, similar to if you have Windows and you swap between the desktops. Also, 2 icons should appear, also letting you know that you have multiple Firefox browsers open, and then you can switch between the 2 as well. Also would be a notification that you also have multiple terminals open, and that will let you switch between the 2 as well. Okay. So this is what your Linux files and folders are going to look like if you open them up. So in here, anything that you downloaded will appear. Something that I recommend is when you're competing for a CTF or just like practicing any challenge is to definitely stay organized. So try creating names and categorize folders for specific challenge names. So just so you know where everything's at. So if the past 2 previous slides looked a little bit intimidating, I want you to think of it this way. You know how on your computer, there's a file explorer where you're able to access your photos, your downloads, and documents? Well, Linux has the same thing. So there's a file explorer to save and download anything that you want. Think of Linux as your own separate computer. So for instance, the things that you download on your everyday computer won't won't appear on your Kali Linux file and vice versa. The downloads and files are separate between the two machines. So in Kali, you're downloading things in a separate environment. So Linux is pretty cool because it offers like a lot of tools and applications for their users to use. To the right-hand side, you're going to see a long list of categories. And in these categories, there are applications and tools that you can use that Linux offers. So instead of writing commands, Linux made it easy so that you can use and access them all in one place. They specifically separated the softwares by category, but I want you to be careful because in some CTF competitions, they may mention that they don't want players that are competing to use outside applications or softwares, but they are just great to keep in mind if you're working on a project or want to practice with, or just explore if you're just overall curious. Most of these applications are popular, and note that you're not restricted to just using them in Linux, but outside as well. Just for time purposes, I'll be going over some of them briefly. So let's say you're someone that likes to work on something along the lines of the category web application analysis. Some popular tools offered in that section would be Burp Suite and SQL Map. So Burp Suite is a great application that lets you look at HTTP posts and GET requests and allows you to edit and find vulnerabilities. SQL Map is also a great tool used in penetration testing to detect and exploit SQL injection flaws. So let's say if you're someone that may be interested in forensics, Linux offers a system, the software Autopsy, where users can use features like keyword search, timeline analysis, email analysis, malicious file detection. So let's say you're someone, if you wanted to work on a project or had a challenge dealing with sniffing and spoofing, Wireshark is going to be good for you because it's a very popular application used for network troubleshooting, analysis, and software. And just remember that you can access these tools and applications by downloading them separately on your computer. But Linux is pretty cool because it offers it in one place. So here, I'm just going to be talking about a little bit of tricks and tips that may help you on your Linux journey. So if you really want to start competing in CTF and practicing commands with Linux, my biggest advice would just be go for it. So for the beginners, we will be linking and providing some resources to help you get started. I recommend paying attention to the commands and examples that Manny's going to be going over a little bit later and get a grasp of those basic commands. So after that, try and practice in a cyber gym offered before the enrollment of some certain CTFs, or by just practicing challenges on Pico CTF. Pico CTF is a perfect website that helps you physically use Linux and compete in challenges in many categories similar to CTFs. So another tip would be just like start competing in the beginner challenges and taking notes of the Linux commands that helped you to complete these challenges, because you might need them or use them ahead of time or in the future as well. So after that, what I recommend is just signing up for CTF and just going for it. Competing in CTFs are fun, and it doesn't really matter if you win or lose. Use these as like learning moments and gaining experience. Just a shout out to Fast. Fast is always promoting CTFs, so definitely keep checking the Discord and the Slack servers. We encourage everyone to try. Even though you may be a beginner, playing in CTFs makes for good practice, and gradually you will get better over time. Another way to practice is just by try forming a study group or even participate in a study group. Studying with others is great because what one person doesn't know, someone else might. So in this instance, you guys will be learning from each other. Some tips I would want to give to anyone that's open and wants to learn Linux is that if you don't know a certain command in Linux, it's okay to look it up when starting out, but don't make looking up a command your first option. Definitely want you to keep trying. If all else fails, this would be like the last resort when practicing. Also, try and keep notes and your downloads all in one place. Make folders with the challenge name. And lastly, take notes. Taking notes on your computer or your computer's notepad, or just writing down what the command is and what it does really does help when you're start practicing and memorize what you're learning.
Cool. All right. Thank you for that, Oda. Now we're just going to be going over some very basic commands that we can use in our Linux terminal. So three basic commands that everyone should get really familiar with is the following three. First, we have CD, which stands for changing directory. This is going to be like your bread and butter when you're going to be navigating through the file system. As you know, you're going to be downloading lots of files, installing lots of programs and whatnot. So CD is going to be used to be going up and down the files directories and checking to see which what folders you have, which folder you want to go to, and all the different types of files and programs that we have installed in there. LS. So what this does, it will list all the current programs, files, directories, folders, and whatnot in your current location. So you probably know that you will be downloading lots of files, lots of programs, and you will forget where you have them and where. So a good command is ls, just to constantly be using it to be able to check to see what you currently have in your directory. As you can see at the middle example here, we just do ls in a simple documents folder, CTF folder, and we can see the following folders that we have on here. Next, we have cat. So what cat allows you to do is allows you to display the contents of one or more files. So this is going to be your method of displaying, or it stands for concatenate. It allows you to display the current data that's inside the file. So for example, if it's a text file, you're going to be able to display the data inside of a text file. If it's an image, you're going to be able to display like the ASCII or the metadata inside that image. For quick examples, we're just going to be going over here into my system. So let's go over some pretty simple ones. So we're going to ls just to see what we currently have available to us. We are going to cd into our documents. Cool little trick that you can do is also hit tab after you type in your CD, put a space, and then you'll be able to navigate and use the arrow keys to be able to maneuver against that system instead of having to type out the directory you kind of want. So let's go ahead and use cat against this image here. And we can see that it displayed a bunch of symbols that you might be unknown to, which is okay. This is an image file, so this is what you will be displayed here. But if we go ahead and do this against a text, let's just say hidden text, and we can see that it will display just the text, the plain text message here. So these are great tools to have. As you can see, I've been using ls quite a bit. It's just to remind me on what I currently have in this directory. It's almost going to be impossible to try to remember every single little thing you have inside. Cool tricks with CD, as mentioned, you can use tab to navigate up and down. You can use ... to go backwards. You can do, let's just say we go forward quite a bit. You can go backwards. So let's say we want to go back one. We do the ... slash. This allows you to go back one directory. And we know that we have, we want to go back one more. We could do that. And then we can go straight to desktop from here. So it is possible to do this all on one line. You just got to remember what directory you're on. So for example, here, we're going backwards on one on examples. Then we're going backwards one more on documents. So we have two ... And we know that desktop exists in the same location of documents. So we could just do it straight from here, and boom, we are now in the documents directory. So these three great commands. Cool. So two other commands that we have here is strings. So what this allows you to do, it allows you to display a list of text that could be included in a file or an image. Similar to cat, but as you can see, we get a different information on the hidden image on the right-hand side here as an example. We see strings against this image. We get a bunch of random text inside here. This is another great way to display text inside of a file. Down below, we have grep. So what grep allows us to do, it allows us to search a file. think of it this way. grep allows us to search the contents with the specified keyword. So if you've ever used Control F on your, let's say a Word document, a website, something like that, you know that you get like a little search box at the top, allowing you to type in a keyword. So grep allows you to do something similar to that in the terminal. So if we go and take a look at an example really quick. Let's see here. So, oops. So as you guys can see here, let me actually, another great command to you guys know is clear. It allows you to just clear your entire terminal, basically like in an erase. So we can see here that we strings an image and we get a bunch of information that may not be readable, but certainly is inside this. So let's take an example for like a CTF environment. Most CTFs have the structure of flag, parenthesis, and then a keyword message inside that. So for this example, we know that we want to find the word flag. Like we know for a fact that that's something we want to look for. What we can do here is strings the image, go ahead and do what's known as a piping operator right down the middle right here. So what the piping operator allows you to do, it's that little bar that just goes straight up and down on your keyboard. It allows you to be able to use multiple commands within the same line of the same line of commands pretty much. So with this, we are combining strings, we are combining the command grep, and we will just be looking for the word flag. Now we're gonna see if the word flag is somewhere within this image currently. So if we go ahead and run that, we will see that secretly there is a command called flag, or I'm sorry, there is a text, a line of text with the word flag that we are currently looking for. Let's see if we can quickly find it. So it is possible to just scroll up and down and be able to, physically look for it. But if you know what you're looking for, grep is a great tool to kind of just use to be able to search that keyword. So, oh, and here it is. So we know that flag is inside this hidden image. So grep is a great tool to, be able to search. It's going to be your control control F on your terminal. So yeah, two great commands: strings, displays, text within whatever file you are searching, and grep allows us to search allows us to search for a specified keyword in whatever you are kind of looking for or wanting to find. So we have two other commands here that we're going to be kind of going over. So EXIF tool, it allows you to display the data of an image. As you guys can see the pattern here, it's all about, being able to find hidden information with Kali Linux, be able to, find the small little hidden hints and files and try to use them to your advantage. EXIF tool is another great command that allows you to display the data of an image. So as you guys can see here at the bottom left, we have EXIF tool and we run it against a random image here. And it displays all sorts of information. So like the file type, file size, the camera model, where it's coming from. And it's a great tool for, let's just say like, you are trying to investigate an image to see where this image was taken. If it allows you, if the person's smart and not hiding so much, you can see, hey, where was this image taken? So let's show you that image real quick. So if we do EXIF tool on boat, we can see all the information that this certain image displays. Really cool. gathering as much information as you possibly can is always interesting. We can even see here that we get the GPS latitude or longitude for that image. Let me show you guys just really quickly what image I am talking about. So it's just a boat image. So by running XFTool, we can find out, where this image was taken because of the GPS latitude and longitude. So this is really cool, in like, let's say OSINT challenges for, that means just open source intelligence, trying to use your best ability in investigating where certain types of things are. So XFTool, really cool, running against your image files. And then we also have binwalk. So what binwalk allows us to do, it searches an image for embedded files and executable code. So as mentioned earlier, we know that people like to hide secret messages, secret files in an image of different types of files. What binwalk allows us to do, it allows us to be able to investigate that file or image that we are running it against and see if there's anything secretly hidden within that. So I'm going to show you something really quickly here. So let's just say you get this image and they're like, oh, hey, find secret information. And you're just like, okay, well, this is just an image. What do I do? Well, what you can do is to see if there's anything secret in it is actually run binwalk. So what binwalk is going to do, like I said, is going to search for hidden information within this file. So if we run it, boom, we get a bunch of zip archives in just that single image. And well, if you just gave this image to any random person, you wouldn't be able to tell that there's actually hidden information within this secret image. So what binwalk allows you to do as well, it allows you to extract all this information with a simple switch. Now, what a switch is this little -e down here. It's basically a command within this command that allows you to run extra steps within this. Now, it may seem daunting a little bit because there are multiple switches within a command, but what you can do as well is something called man, which stands for manual, and run that command against it. And this will bring up like a manual for that command. So I just ran man against binwalk. We can see that there are multiple different types of switches that you are able to use within this one simple command. So getting used to being able to use man against all the commands that you are currently learning, like grep and strings. There are multiple things you can do with those as well. Cat, believe it or not, cat, the one that we just showed you earlier, that allows you to display contents of a file. Cat also allows you to actually kind of hide information using cat with another file. So if you do cat file and then a couple different other symbols and then another file, it actually allows you to hide information just using cat. So there's more things that you can do with certain commands, but understanding that you can use man, or another one that's great would be like -h, which is help. It does the same thing as manual, except a different display. But yeah, remembering help, remembering -h, that sometimes it's dash help or man will allow you to display lots of extra information that you might not know you needed when using that command. So if we are going to do binwalk again, I know that we were going to do -e for extracting all that. So let's go ahead and do this. So let's go ahead and run it one more time. We can see that there is a bunch of zipped archives in that secret image. What we want to do now is -e. I know it's top secret .2 here, and we want to just run that, and nothing will display here. But what secretly happened is all those zip archives were secretly extracted. We can see here that if we look at top secret 2.jpg, we can see we got a new folder here called top secret 2 extracted. What this did is it extracted all the files that we needed, and we get a bunch of pictures of cats. So now what we need to do is, well, where is the hidden information? Why did we get a bunch of pictures of cats within a top secret image? Now think of it this way, in like a CTF environment where you know the keyword you are looking for. So the keyword that we know we're looking for, let's just say, for example, is flag. It's still flag. So what we can do now is with by navigating over to that directory and then navigating one more into the cats, we can list ls all the current images that are in there. But instead of having to, let's just say, open it one at a time, checking it, running strings against it, trying to find the flag, doing everything we just learned previously. Another neat thing that we can do with the command grep is actually do this. So what this is doing is we are grepping, we are finding the word flag, and what the little asterisk symbol here, the star symbol here, what this means is to all. So in terms here, we are saying grep flag in all the pictures that we are currently seeing in this directory. So if we do that, we can see we get a response, which is grep cat17.jpg binary file matches. So something in our image cat17 has something that matches to what we are searching, which was the word flag. So if we do now that we know that it's in 17, if we do that and we grep the word flag, we can see that we get the flag that we were looking for, which was lots of cats. So I know we started off with binwalk. What binwalk did is it allowed us to extract or view all the hidden files within a certain image. Then we just continued with the other steps that we knew, like ls, strings, grep. So yeah, you guys can see that, having all these basic commands are going to be useful in, navigating your file system, images, searching, and all that stuff. So yeah. Next, we have Nmap. So Nmap is a very, very powerful tool. This allows you to, it stands for network mapper. So what this does, it's a network scanner used to discover hosts and services on a network. Like I said, this is a very powerful tool because you want to run this against, you want to be careful running this against any websites and stuff, because this allows you to see the vulnerabilities inside a website and see what ports are open. Think of ports as like the mailboxes to like a website or a service or a server. This allows you kind of like a gateway to be able to enter and find the hidden information they have. As you guys can see at the example down here, we can see a couple different ports that are open. Like I mentioned, though, you want to be careful with this as you don't want to just be running this casually against any website you come across, as firewalls and other type of protection on a website will flag this and be like, hey, somebody's trying to scan you. Be careful. So it is a very powerful tool. I do recommend a Hacked Box services that Fast does hold on Wednesdays. They will show you, they will play around with Nmap quite often, but Nmap, another great tool that we have for scanning network. So play around with this. You can obviously use Nmap and Nmap, oops. And you can see that if we run the command manual against Nmap, we can see a bunch of information that can be displayed on how to use this, what you can do with it and whatnot. So very powerful tool. Good to practice, good to use. Next, let me take a drink of water real quick. Cool, awesome. Next, what we have here is curl. So curl, similar to Nmap, it allows you to display information on websites and allows you to manipulate, send data over a website through its traffic and very different types of protocols. So a great example I have here on being able to kind of manipulate a website using curl is actually credit to US Cyber Games Challenge. If any of you guys played in that, they had a challenge in there that was very, very cool to use curl against. With this on the left-hand side, we can see here that curl, first they give you this website and they're like, hey, try to find the flag within this website. And one of the main things you want to do kind of first is actually view the page source, see the different information that's available. You know, if anyone's familiar with programming, you know that there's comments. People write comments in their programming in their programming script so they can see what certain things do. This is no different. So you can see here that if we view the page source of this website, we can see that they say this will keep hackers out. They can't even view our index without being redirected. Naturally, what you want to do is you want to type in, let's just say here on the right-hand side, for example, you want to get rid of login.php and type in index.php. They're trying to let us know that index.php is where they want us to go, but the website keeps redirecting us. So this is where curl comes in handy. Like I mentioned, it'll allow you to kind of, transfer data, manipulate and stuff. So what this does, we run curl against the basic website. We can get the basic skeleton of the website similar to down here. So now what we want to do is we want to run index.php against curl. So we added it to the end right here. And funny enough, we get a different message after we run that index.php instead of the login PHP. So before we were getting login.php, we got all this information, not useful to us because we want to go to index. So curl allows us to do that without having to run it on this website. So sorry for the back and forth. So now we get a different message that says go to, and then a bunch of random numbers and letters. So .php. We do that similar thing what we did up here in index.php. We do it to the, we replace index, we type in the new numbers, and boom, we get the flag. So it's a great way to kind of just be able to do what you needed to do without having to use their service that's on purpose making you, go in a loop. So curl, very powerful tool as well. It allows you to do all sorts of things with website. It can display services. It can tell you, if you're requesting something or if you're sending something as well from a website and what's going back and forth. Very cool tool as well. And last but not least, we do have nano. So nano is a very basic command, but it could be a very cool one. What nano allows you to do is it allows you to kind of, it's a text editing tool. So similar to like your Notepad or like Visual Studio, if any of you guys are programmers out there, it kind of just allows you to display the contents of a text file on your terminal. So if like, for example, I use this example quite a bit. So like in reverse engineering questions, let's say if you get a question on, hey, can you view the source code on something and, try to break this program? Well, naturally they'll be like, here's a source code, try to break it. You can use Nano to view that code on your terminal, mess around with it, do whatever you need to do, save it, just all sorts of type of stuff. Let me show you guys quickly what that looks like. So we just run nano. Actually, let me see if I have an example. Yeah. So we just run nano. You can see here, mess around with it a bit, but you can do quite a few things. Just delete, erase, test, bunch of letters. Down here, you got a bunch of commands like help, write, read, replace. What this little up arrow symbol means is actually your control key on your keyboard. So if you do Control X, you get to exit, Control R, read the file. Over here on the right-hand side, you get an M. What M allows you to do, M is the Alt key on your keyboard. So ME, reduce, MU, let me show you guys, MU, just undoes. That's all it does. So yeah, this is Nano, just a very basic tool for you to use, just so you guys know that you do have text editing tools within your terminal. Nano is a good one. Vim is another great one. But I personally do like to use Nano. And we are just gonna exit, save, and just, that's it. Cool. Yeah, guys, that's pretty much a good layout of some very basic commands in Linux. Oda here is going to talk about some great resources that we do have, that we do recommend, and obviously, feel free to reach out to anybody at Fast Discord. We do all have our own personal preferences on what we like to use personally to study.
Yeah, so someone I definitely recommend is Network Chuck on YouTube. I know that he has so many like Linux videos, and he specifically has a Learning Linux for Hackers series, and I thought it was useful overall. So I definitely recommend, if you're just starting out with Linux, to just take a look at those videos. There's tons of YouTubers that have many Linux videos. I know above we linked 50 popular Linux commands to use, so you can also take a look at that. If you're someone that likes to work hands-on, I know TryHackMe has a Linux fundamentals course, and it's pretty cool because they provide a terminal for you to just work on the labs without having to download Linux. So I definitely recommend that. Alongside that, I heavily recommend PicoCTF. PicoCTF is cool because it has a bunch of categories that you can just perform tasks on, and it's really close to working in a CTF environment. So definitely grab a couple of friends, work on it together, and yeah, get to learning.
That's right. Cool. So just some basic information on what we use to create this. Thank you guys for coming. Really appreciate it. If you guys are barely learning Linux, I hope some of these commands are useful for you, and they start getting you on your journey for practicing Linux and using Linux, whether it be in a CTF environment or other jobs and roles that you will plan on doing so. If you're already familiar with Linux, I hope it was just a great refresher for you guys. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. And good luck on your journey.
Well, does anyone have any questions? I know now will definitely be the time if anyone has any questions about Linux related stuff, or even just also study related stuff, or fast related stuff, or even just what's like to be on a keyboard. We're all friends here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it could be any type of stuff, any type of Linux questions, CTF questions, anything you guys are curious on. Stop recording here.